In 1987, NBC created a prime time lineup of sitcoms, game shows, some other different stuff. And on September 18th, 1987, Out of This World came out. And they, NBC really tried it for that whole year. And the show's about a girl named Evie Ethel Garland. And she's not that interesting of a character. She basically is... Her mother was played by that chick in Saturday Night Fever, the redhead, if any of you have seen that movie. And her father is a space alien. And they came down, he had sex with her mother, they got married, and Evie was born. And Evie is half human, half alien. And her mother never tells her the fact that she's an alien. And her father has never been around her since she was born. And her father is voiced by Burt Reynolds. And Burt Reynolds wanted nothing to do with this show. He just owed a favor to a producer. Because he's like, even asked to keep his name off the credits. Well, the whole plot is, it's Evie's 13th birthday. And her mother hasn't told her. And her Uncle Bino is basically, you should tell her. And all of a sudden, Evie puts her fingers together like, it's like, this kind of thing. And she freezes time. Okay, that's a pretty awesome power. I mean, Superman doesn't even have that. And she basically, to undo it, she has to touch people. So she tells, her mom finally says, oh yeah, your father was an astronaut. And she goes, more like E.T. And she basically says this joke, well, you think I would have done it with your father if he was Alf? And it's like, that's kind of rude. Why are you making fun of Alf? The only good thing on here. But anyways, in this whole pilot, she has kind of trouble dealing with it. She's half human, half alien. And she gets this like weird candy dish looking thing. And it's an alien communicator and opens up and she talks to her father, Troy, who's fighting a war, on another planet. And basically, pretty much every episode's pretty much the same. Evie's having to work with her powers. Her father even takes her powers away. Now, how the fuck's that work? And after the first season, NBC said, okay, we tried this before primetime lineup. Because really not much happens. She just kind of gets in misadventures with her powers. And NBC said, okay, we're done. It didn't work out. Okay, that's not the end of Out of This World. At the time, they had syndication, which whatever local channel would pick this show up. So you'd be flipping the channels like on a Saturday or a Sunday, and it would be on. So you basically, they talk about Evie's birthday, and there's an episode basically in the second season where she goes back in time and almost stops her parents from meeting. Oh my God, where have I seen that before? Oh yeah, right, Back to the Future. But it's like she tells her dad, she gets a communicator, she tells her dad, brings her Uncle Bino back from time. And his dad says, I can make a mind meld with my younger self to meet your mother. I go, that's just fucking stupid. And the show really didn't have much to offer, at all. They did rewrites of Bewitched episodes. And the character Evie isn't, like I said, she's not that interesting. She's kind of a spoiled little brat. She doesn't use her powers for the good humanity or anything like that. She can go back in time. Oh, go back and stop the Holocaust from happening. No, she doesn't do it. She has the power to freeze time. She can stop a lot of crimes. Superman doesn't even have that power. And you have that ability, and you could be doing all kinds of good. But it's basically Evie saying, I want this, or I want that. And it's like, I have a hard time liking this character. She has a boyfriend, a best friend named Lindsay. And the funny thing is, the actor that played her boyfriend, he became a soap star. And the actress that played Lindsay, I looked her up. She's like gone from the face of this earth. It's like, she is so ashamed. I assume she probably runs around runs around wearing a paper bag on her head because she's just so ashamed of this show. And I would be ashamed of this show. The actress that plays Evie, she's done, you know, some directing here and there. And, you know, Uncle Beano is probably the most successful because he actually went on to voice Bugs Bunny and Daffy Duck and a lot of different Looney Tunes characters for video games and different things like that. But by the time the series, the third season, Uncle Beano, after season 3, Uncle Beano was written out. And they replaced him with this young blonde actor who's like supposed to be like the hip uncle. You know, he's like a rock and roll musician. And it doesn't work. And they finally put Burt Reynolds in the cast, but they put Troy as himself. And they just kept adding and adding to the cast, which they had Doug McClure in. I mean, they had, you know, enough. They didn't need any more actors, but they just kept doing more and more and more in. By the time the show ended, the very last episode, Troy comes home and he gets mixed up in some machine, and he basically, you just see an outline of a person, you hear Burt Reynolds' voice. And Ultronian time is different than human time. So he's got to go back, and then her mother sees this weird object in Evie's room, and instead of sitting there thinking, hey, maybe I should have touched that, I don't know what it is, her mom gets in it, and she's transported back to his home planet. And that was the end of the series. I don't think they had plans on ending it that way, but I don't think anyone really gives a shit. It's not on DVD. You know, it was really hard to really watch this show. I mean, I've seen it in syndication sometimes, but it's not that great. Basically, like I said, they had an episode where this nerd, you know, and I took really offense to this, and he turns out to be an alien, which they already did that. I read a children's book by that when I was a kid, so it's like you're ripping off a children's book. I have my theory about Troy. He's an alien bigamist. That's why he hasn't been around all these years, because he's got like hoes all over the universe. You know, he's got like, oh yeah, I'm going to try to like nail Princess Leia over here. I'm going to try to get her. You know, it's like, I think that's why he doesn't come home. He's been having all these other families. You know, and her and Evie supposed to have some kind of bond, but it's just really, really stupid. And to mention, the intro is the funniest thing about this. They had the song, Would You Like to Swing on a Star, Carry Moonbeams Home in a Jar, which is probably the best thing about this show, even though it's a remake of a song that was done in the 40s. The clips, they show starships coming in, and they just recycle footage from Buck Rogers in the 25th century. And then they show the alien council getting the cube and watching it, and that's just reused footage from Doctor Who. It's like, really, you guys? You couldn't just make up some new fucking footage? You're that fucking lame? I was glad ABC canceled the show. It should have been canceled after the first year. It was a terrible idea. It is shit. And it's pretty bad. I wouldn't recommend watching this. I think as a young girl for Evie, I don't think she really embraces what it is, you know, young girls to be a good role model for a young girl. Unlike Sabrina, which would come a decade later, she kind of embraced, you know, would do the right thing, even though her powers would backfire. She still had her heart was in the right place. Everyone's best interest at heart. But Evie just seems to want to be selfish. And I think the idea of this could have worked if, instead of making it a sitcom, they had made a 1-hour serious show. And have Evie, you know, using her powers to help people. You know, I mean, she couldn't be seen, she could stop time. And I think that would have been an interesting idea, but they just want this really shitty idea. And I don't think they really thought it really all the way through. I mean, if it's bad enough Burt Reynolds doesn't want his name attached, it's bad. You know, I mean, he's getting a paycheck no matter what. I mean, he's like, oh, no, I don't want no part of that. So, yeah, I can't recommend this. It's shit. I really don't like it, and it's starting to really make me angry, so I gotta sign off. So until next time, trust me, I know what I'm reviewing.